señores y señoritas. Well, and of course, alam niyo naman, dito tayo sa Barcelona, Spain. So, sa yung mga sa inyo na nakasali na sa mga group tours abroad, alam niyo na kung ano yung nangyari, di ba? Yung isasama kayo sa mga ibang nationalities. So, ayun, ini-introduce kami niyang tour guide namin na si Marta. Later on, pakinggan natin siya. Pero ito, we'll be touring one day kami, all day kami tour of the tourist attractions of Barcelona. In our second day here in Barcelona, Spain. So pakinggan natin siya later on. So yun, I'm happy to be here, guys, dahil dito lumapag una si Dr. Jose Rizal. Kung baga dito niya namulat yung pag-iisip niya na Filipinos can be as intelligent as the Spaniards, kasi okay, pakinggan natin.
John Lewis. John G. Lewis, hello. John, and you are with?
Pepper.
Pepper. John and Pepper. With? And you are from Florida, I guess?
Yes.
Sorry.
Okay lang, pwede pa tayo magsalita kasi hindi pa siya nagsimula yung tour explanation niya. She's just interacting with the other tourists and recognizing them, lalo na yung place of origin nila. As we were saying kanina, when it was really cold early morning, naalala ko yung kawawa nating hero, si Dr. Jose Rizal, na pumunta rito na hindi niya na-realize na mas matatalino pa pala siya sa mga Spaniards. Mas magaling pa siya. Nag-aaral siya dito, ang dami siya mga awards. At kahit doon pa man sa Pilipinas, nagagalit rin sa kanya yung mga Espanyol. Okay, pakinggan na natin.
Barcelona. Have you been to Barcelona before?
No.
You haven't?
Long time ago.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Well, Barcelona is the second most important city in Spain. You could call it easily like that, just like that. The most important one is the capital, Madrid. Population and size-wise, and even GDP. They have a slightly higher GDP than we have. But between the two of us, don't think, we form 40% of the GDP of the country. Just
Wow.
Madrid and Barcelona. Barcelona being an exportation area, and Madrid being the capital of the country, it has a lot of the taxes for the main offices and lots of businesses being in Madrid. So a lot of their riches comes from tax collection. If you know a little bit about the history of Spain, remember that we had two kingdoms in Spain when Ferdinand and Isabella paid Columbus. There was the kingdom of Castile and there was the kingdom of Aragon. Remember that, any of that?
Yeah.
Castile is Madrid,
There's a movie.
and Aragon is Zaragoza, Barcelona. Just so you understand that we come from those two kingdoms. The importance of these cities is these were the important cities even back in the Middle Ages for Spain. Just grew and grew and grew. Madrid is from 1500. That's when it was founded by the first Habsburg kings. So that's its importance. And Barcelona was a place that existed already from 400 years before Christ. We already had Iberians here, and they called their city Barqueno, which means land between two rivers or esplanade. That's exactly what Barcelona is. And then the Romans arrived, and in 15 before Christ, they renamed the city in Latin, not changing the name, just Latinizing it to Barquino. And then it evolved to Barquinona in the normal vulgarization of Latin mixed with the local languages. Then the Arabs took over. He's having problems with the door this morning. ¿Qué pasa, Javi? ¿No te funcionan las puertas?
¿Qué pasa?
¿Pero todo bien ya? Okay, now we're in order.
Don't fall out.
Nobody's going to fall out. And they called it Barcelona. That's when it starts having a Barcelona with an X, an I, and an H. Barcelona. And from there to Barcelona was just one step. Barcelona. It still means Esplanade, therefore hasn't changed its name. And the city does have a river in the north and a river in the south, Markets territory. We have the mountain behind us that we're on, facing the sea. And that would be west and east. North and south are the two rivers. So very early on, being a Mediterranean city, it grew because of its trade, manufacture, pottery objects, farming, and then trading with the rest of the Mediterranean countries. So yeah, I mean, you're born in the Mediterranean, that's what you do, right? You trade because it's easy. It's a no-brainer. So where you are is people focusing on business, basically. Business-oriented people, industrialists, people very open to the Western world because of the need to trade. So that's Catalans. You're in an area called Catalunya, capital Barcelona. And Catalunya has its own language, so you'd be surprised that many of the signs you read are not in Spanish because the locals speak a different language. So, Catalan. Adeu, adeu, adeu is adios.
Oh,
Come back, ¿cómo estás? Right? It's just a different language. There's that. Yeah, the locals speak two languages. Castilian, which is what you would call Spanish in the rest of the world, we call Castilian, and Catalan, the two languages. The national one we all have to know, and the local one we've had for centuries. Spain has 4 languages, folks. We're not the only ones that have their own language. You have Basque, and Basque has nothing to do with Latin. It's Celtic, it's Viking, it's Romantic, it's many things, but not Latin. And then you have Gallego. Gallego is Galician, and Galician is just like Portuguese. When you say I don't speak Portuguese, you say eu não falo português. And when you say I don't speak Galician, you say eu não falo Galego. So it's the same accent, same practically identical language. So those are the 4 languages of Spain: Gallego, Basco, Catalan, y Castellano. But everybody's required to speak Castilian. So the other ones are co-official, and very recently, not a week ago, for the first time ever, these languages are going to be used in Parliament. And there's going to be simultaneous translation for the first time since we became a democracy. And these languages and areas were recognized as autonomous communities. You would call them states, but we're not a republic, we're still a monarchy. So we came up with the word autonomous communities, and each one of the autonomous communities has its own government, self-government. So we have a president in Catalonia, and we have a parliament in Catalonia. Just
Sorry.
No.
It's Castillo and Spanish, very different languages.
Castellano?
Yeah, Castellano.
Castellano is Spanish, but Mexicans, Chileans, Peruvians speak. Anyone speaking, any Hispanic is going to speak Spanish without the accent, without the lisp, but it's the same language. I mean, people from Liverpool, you can hardly understand them. I'm sorry. Today, thank goodness, but I have a hard time understanding their English, and yet it's English.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that's what it is. They just have such a hard, strong accent that
Yes.
but it's English. So we have the same situation. It's all Castilian. But because it's spoken in South America, it's usually called Spanish. By everybody else. The Spaniards are very clear about it. When we study the language at school, we study lengua castellana, not español. Yeah, we make a big difference because it's each one of the old kingdoms.
Yeah.
So you recognize exactly where the kingdom was, what it was, and what they spoke. I am. I was born here in Barcelona. My dad's from Barcelona. My grandfather was from Aragon, but they moved to Barcelona. They have kids here in Barcelona. And my mother's Puerto Rican. Although when my dad was growing up, no Catalan was allowed because we had Franco in power, the dictator. And the
Yeah.
dictator did not allow for any of these
Oh.
languages. It was all very new and very liberal and very lots of freedom when Franco died. And that's when we got official recognition and right to have our own self-government and to have our own language. This is all after Franco died. I have no idea how it felt in Spain to have all that liberty after 40 years of fascist dictatorship. It was like, are you guys sure? Are you guys sure we can do this? That the army is not going to rebel? That they're not going to do a coup again? And it seemed impossible that we were getting all that liberty in such few years. Franco dies in 75. In 78, we're already ratifying the Constitution. 3 years later, there's already a new Constitution, which hasn't been amended yet. And our first democratic elections, 1980.
Oh,
So we're very late
yeah.
in modern life. Very, very late comers. We are. This is the diagonal, by the way. This is our main avenue in Barcelona. It crosses this one here. It's called the diagonal because it crosses the plain of Barcelona in a diagonal line. We're by the mountains now. So this is west, southwest, and it goes all the way to the beaches in the northeast.
Ay, ito University
Straight
of
line.
Barcelona.
Diagonal.
Yun na.
Oh, University of Barcelona.
Yes, we are. We're heading to Montserrat because Montserrat is behind our mountains, west of Barcelona. So we have to take one of the two exits offered by the rivers. The rivers already opened their way across the mountains. So you have to go out one of the two ways, north or south. We're going south. We usually do. And this is the university area. These are all faculties. All of them on both sides of the diagonal.
University of what?
The University of Barcelona, the public University of Barcelona. Barcelona has 3 public universities. One of them is the Barcelona University. The other one is the Technological University, where they study technological studies. And then we have the university that has a campus outside of Barcelona. So that's economics. Look, business administration and economy, etc. We just left them behind.
Are they all public? Or
Sorry?
Are they all public schools or are they private
This is
schools?
a public university.
And how much does it cost to go?
Between 5 and 10,000 a year.
Really?
Euro.
Euro.
Still cheap.
Steep.
It's cheap, yeah. Spanish salaries are not what you are used to in your own countries. Spain is not a very competitive country. Salaries are not interesting.
Are there many private schools?
Yes. You see, that's the thing.
Much more
There's lots of
expensive?
private- Much more expensive. Much more expensive. Some of them are even in English, being international colleges.
It's like in our
Especially
country.
dedicated to business administration.
Busy.
That's the main thing that foreigners study in Barcelona. And now we're leaving the city, this bit of road before we get to the highway. We're going to see the Barcelona soccer sports city. This is a suburban area called Las Plugas de Llobregat. You can see they're developing residential buildings now. This used to be. Everything outside Barcelona is industrial. But this, because it's so near the city, is slowly, very slowly becoming residential, more than industrial. Although it still has industry. Nestle, it's across Nestle.
Ah, there.
You mentioned the countries within Spain. The Basques were a problem. Are they've calmed down? They were trying
Oh, they've been disarticulated completely. Once Franco died, France helped us, you see. For as long as Franco was in power, France said, oh, let him kill. Franco shouldn't even be in power. So as soon as the ETA terrorists moved away from Spain into France, they were lost to us because there was no jurisdiction in France. So that's how it went on for as long as ETA and Franco coincided. As soon as Franco died and we got a democracy, France started helping us and bringing them back into Spain, and we eventually ended ETA. So ETA has become a political party called Bildu. They're not going for independence using violence.
It's down. That's calmed down.
That's disappeared. Since Franco died, ETA hasn't done more attacks.
So they were just against Franco.
They were against lack of freedom. Not nothing. Because they're happy where they are now. They haven't tried becoming independent. So this idea of recognizing your culture, recognizing your traditions and your language, and not trying to repressive, has helped us a lot. These last years have been peaceful. Although Catalans tried moving away.
Okay guys, i-end na natin tong video. I will come back sa next destination natin. So I hope klaro yung narinig nyo sa tour guide. I hope you learned something. And thank you for joining us in this vlog. Mucho mas gracias.